What is up, guys? Hope you're doing well. And I'm going to invite you in fresh into the dome here of something that I feel like God is delivering me from. Maybe already has. We'll kind of see how it plays out. But basically, my eyes have been opened, I guess you could say, that really I have had a lifelong addiction to sugar. Which is a little bit funny that now my eyes are just now being open to it because of several reasons. One, I've known for 3 years now about that, or actually, 3.5 years, that I have ADHD. And it's definitely known that anyone with ADHD is more susceptible to addictions in general because your brain is chronically under aroused, as in the dopamine we get from normal everyday life is less than what a human normally gets, which makes a lot of normal life super mundane and leaves you looking for some spikes of that dopamine. It's also funny because literally in elementary school, my mom, when I was 7, changed jobs, leaving the corporate world and moving to work for the church and school that I went to. And with that, after school became Pop by Mom's office or whatever, and she would take us home whenever she was wrapping up. But in the in-between minutes of waiting, I would just go to the staff break room and just start busting open sugar packets and just downing like 20 of them, like literally 20. And this would happen like every day. I also remember one time swiping a tube of icing that I found in one of the drawers in the kitchen. And I found it at probably around 6 p.m. I went upstairs and hid it under my covers in my bed. So I was like, if I start eating this now, I'm totally going to get busted. But let me wait till after it's bedtime, and then I'll just turn that thing open and just drink away at some icing. And I literally ate that whole tube of icing, that it was a brand new tube. I also, around 5th grade, asked for a pound of sugar for Christmas. Literally. And I got it. And it was the first gift that I opened. You know, like you open every gift, but then it's like they're still in their boxes. You just took them out of like the shipping box. Like the pound of sugar was the first one that I broke into the next level. Like, let me actually open it and start appreciating this gift. And literally just like licking my hand, boom, putting it in this pound of sugar and just eating sugar. And that's when I learned that apparently this was a joke that I got it. Because the way my parents reacted, they were like, oh no, you weren't supposed to just start licking all this sugar, like what in the world? But then they're like, well, I guess you can have it now because you got your spit all in there, so there you go. And I was like, score, just got a pound of sugar. So that's a little bit about my upbringing with sugar, right? Obviously not healthy, but I wouldn't have said that I was addicted. I just like ate it a lot, you know? And dinners were like, once my mom moved to working at our school, she was cooking every night, so our dinners were pretty balanced, I would say. But she also did really good about not really letting us have like sugary cereals. Also, sodas were like not in our house. So it could have been worse for sure. But in the 7 years before she worked for our school, when she was in the corporate world, our nanny, our live-in, would often make us dinner, and usually it was corn dogs or ramen. Breakfast was usually like sugary oatmeal premix thing. Or like Life cinnamon cereal, which is still obviously sugary, just less sugary than Trix or whatever. And lunches, we got hot lunch at school, so whatever they were making is what I ate, and for sure it always came with the dessert. And just like high carbs, all that stuff. Again, I wouldn't have said I was addicted. Just have a big sweet tooth, really like sugar. I was super active, so like it wasn't like I was putting on crazy weight or anything like that. Like I've always had a little bit of a pudge action going on, and part of that's probably sugar intake, and part of that's for sure like genes as well. That's just the frame that the BR blood likes. Just give us some broad shoulders and give us a little bit of a pudge, Anyways, that's at least how my dad and his dad look. My grandpa's passed away since, but you get the idea. And literally, guys, a little bit. Let's just go on this rabbit trail. BR meant bear, like the German word for bear, BAHR, was the last name of Hans, who changed his last name from that word to BIAR, which had no meaning. It was just a spelling that looked more Windish, because he essentially converted from German to Windish to avoid persecution from the Catholic Church for being Protestant. So, but anyways, like if someone's last name is Bear, like that dude was a big dude and probably hairy. Like not one or the other. You don't get the last name Bear by being small, super skinny. Okay, and we've definitely not impressed the world with our height, us BRs. But he probably was a lot taller comparatively than I am. So we lost that, but hey, I still got Hans's shoulders, that's for sure. There's a bear inside of this little dude. Grr. Alright, back to the sugar thing. So then you go into college, like for sure, like just super unhealthy life, like literally freshman year, my breakfast, I would go to Einstein's and I would get a pizza bagel, which is like so much sugar in and of itself, especially because I'd get a honey wheat bagel with it. And then I would get a large frap, like mocha frap, which is probably another who knows how much. I mean, who knows? And then it's like Panda Express for lunch, like their orange chicken or their teriyaki sauce, just like sugar, soda with that. Dr. Pepper's in the dorm, Dr. Pepper's every meal. Like just a lot of sugar. And I still had ambitions to be fit. And I've had waves of like more ambition or less, but I'd say whether my ambition was super high or super low, fitness was still like on the map somewhere. And I'd say my body composition has been in a similar range, with the exception of like now / the past year, which is part of the breakthrough. But anyways, I ate a lot of sugar. Then you get into more recent years, and really since living in Arkansas, I didn't know it at first, but what I learned a couple years into living in Arkansas is that I've been having this intense battle with anxiety, and I'll dive more into that in a different video. But one of my coping mechanisms for sure was sugar, and just like in general food, but really especially sugar. And like that, and so I was aware of that, and I've always like kind of wished that I would be more lean and mean, that I would have a physique that's a little bit less of a pooch action going on in my gut. And I don't even drink beer, so you can't even call it a beer belly, I just earned this fair and square through sugar. And anyways, so that led me into which year? 2021. Yeah, the year Hudson was born. I made it a goal, like pretty, not quite obsessive, but like really clear goal to get to 9.9% body fat. And I started the year at like 21 or 22 or something like that. And I was going pretty hard, calorie deficits, keto, exercise. I got down to like 16.5, and then I passed out. And that passing out really spiraled into the next leg of anxiety that I was not even ready for, because it turned into this big health journey where I'm trying to figure out what happened. Am I diabetic? What's going on with my blood sugar? I went to the ER, got all these different tests. Not that night, but later on, when I was just continued to have severe, like dizzy spells or passing out symptoms. Like literally, I'd be at home and I'd have to like scooch my butt across the floor because I didn't feel comfortable walking. Like, because at any moment, it's like I could just drop. Like I just feel like I'm about to pass out constantly. It was miserable. About 4 or 5 months into that is when I learned this is anxiety. This isn't other health things. I would have never thought that I struggle with anxiety, but in retrospect, it's like, oh wow, duh. So, anyways, I get pretty fit. I get pretty lean, but then it all gets ruined. In hindsight, I can see that, well, I was just trying to get like some shredded abs, basically. You know, I wasn't even aware of this sugar problem. I was eating less sugar, of course, because doing keto, like you can only have 25 carbs or 25 grams of carbs, and a gram of sugar is a gram of carbs, you know. But my sweet tooth, I didn't necessarily identify as a problem. I've even done the Whole30 before, but I didn't do specifically the part where they say don't use artificial sweeteners or whatever. So I was like, whatever, brain's response to sweets, like, okay, but nutritionally, like, seriously, stevia's fine. You know, I'm not gonna worry about that. So with keto, like, I was cooking desserts all the time, like baking, like, I would skimp on quality calories, trying to see how many calories can I have at the end of the day for desserts, you know, keto desserts, you know, full of almonds and whatever, and xylitol, you know. And so I was still having the same type of diet. I was just doing it all keto version, you know, keto pizza, whatever, keto ice cream, keto cookies, keto brownies, and all that to say, I didn't know it was a problem then because I was getting shredded. Like, it was fitting within my caloric intake, you know, so I still don't really have anything in my mind like this is a problem. Definitely would not have called it an addiction. But then after I pass out, you know, I go down the sad journey of just super increased anxiety, which led to super increased eating. Also, because I thought eating sugar was going to help. Like, sometimes it seemed like it helped with my dizzy spells. Like, I thought for a while that I would get dizzy spells if I just needed more sugar or more food. And so I would try to eat more to make it go away. And then sometimes it would get worse, which would make me just want to eat more to make it go away, you know. So anyways, 2021, halfway through, you know, I start going south in terms of my fitness. That's when I start putting on some pounds. At first, I wasn't really stressed about it because I'm just trying to figure out this whole health thing. And then I realized it's anxiety. And then, okay, we're going to try to get out of this. 2022, though, is when I leave staff at church. I start some businesses. Starting 3 businesses, not exactly like the most stress-free experience, you know, on our finances, and still having a hard time at home in terms of particularly Megan's adjustment to having 2 kids, and that caused me severe stress because I'm trying to help her not be stressed, and it's not really going that good, you know. So I'm just putting on weight, and it got to the point, I guess recently, like in 2023, I finally put on enough pounds that I just felt like, and I felt shame and discouragement, even disgust, like all the way through this, you know, since I passed out to now, you know, like I loved being on keto. I was thriving. I loved that I was making progress. I loved the way that I was looking, like I was feeling more energy, like no hunger, like just awesome, awesome, awesome experience. And so I was still even grieving the loss of that, like, oh, I just can't do that anymore because I guess I just can't, whatever. But the alternative obviously became a problem to the point where I probably, like when I passed out, I was probably chilling like 136 pounds or something like that, which I'm 5'5", okay, so, you know, it's not, I wasn't a toothpick. Um, and it got to the point earlier this year where I was probably touching 180. 180. I'm down to 169 now. What's up, suckers? But the point's not even weight loss. Like when I got to 180, and anyway, so this sugar deal became exposed to me as I started, you know, feeling not just discouraged, but even kind of disgusted with what my body had turned into and how I had allowed it to get to that. And I knew that like I was overeating like crazy, like just my relationship with food as a whole wasn't healthy. Like even still there would be days where I'd like have whatever, like ice cream and like those Nerds gummy clusters. I could just have a whole, you know, share size bag of that and ice cream, or like whatever, get ice cream, like multiple desserts in a day, like after lunch and then after dinner, or like the circus animal frosted cookies. Like I could get a package of those from the store and eat the whole thing in a day, and did. And or if we're at like a party or something, like just eating every dessert that's there, eating a whole pizza, you know, soda, just, you know, a large ice cream, like a large from a store, and then having a Dr. Pepper to go with it, or a large ice cream and then having like a cinnamon twist or something also. It's like I would eat as if it was, I'll never live another day again and I'll never taste this again. And I think subconsciously I knew that like I'm going to stop this relationship pretty soon because I'm putting on so much weight. I hate myself so much. Like I can't keep doing this forever. So it really was like somewhat legitimate in terms of like I may never get to do this again. But it was just a downward spiral of just like overconsumption and anxiety and sugar, all this stuff. But like I would say like at some point earlier in 2023, I became aware that I want to change. I want to start losing some weight again, etc. And despite that, 3, 4, 5 months into 2023, I was still eating like that. And so that's when it was a clue for me that like this is kind of compulsive. Like I'm eating more than I even want to eat. I'm eating more than what feels good, what even tastes good. Like I don't like this relationship. That was the first time in my life I would have said that. Like even when I was downing sugar packets, it was a win-win relationship. I was enjoying it, no problems at all. But more recently is when it became like I wish that I didn't do this, but I am doing this. And so that was a clue for me that it was addictive. And just generally trying to lose weight, like I just started downloading all these YouTube videos, TED Talks, research studies on not just, I guess it maybe started with, I don't know, just health or fat burning or whatever, but pretty quickly just really focused in on these stories and illustrations about sugar and the presence of sugar in our diet, hearing several people share their own life stories as it relates to their own sugar addictions and our bodies as it relates to insulin, as it relates um, to the different harms that sugar causes. Like, I did not realize that they literally call Alzheimer's and dementia type 3 diabetes now. Like, that is crazy. Crazy, crazy. Like, I just started feeling sick to my stomach. I actually cried a couple times. Like, I was literally at the gym listening to this and like shed a legitimate tear or two on multiple occasions, hearing someone talk about how harmful sugar is and just thinking about the life that I've lived as it relates to sugar, thinking it's just this innocent um, thing, like this delight of life, like basically like as long as you can keep the weight in check, you're chill. And what I was getting exposed to with the truth is like that's not the case. It's not just visceral fat, it's not just obesity that's a problem. Like, even if you were super fit, like this type of sugar intake is correlated to so much more than even just your current weight or body composition, in extreme ways. I'm like, I knew already that like caffeine was like a socially acceptable American drug. I also knew that like the food pyramid was kind of rigged and that like we really don't need that high of a carb intake. I was aware of some of these things, but I would not have known that like sugar really acts like a drug. I didn't really remember or know that when given the choice, mice choose sugar over cocaine. Like, I didn't understand just how addictive it was and just how common um, um, ignorant addiction to sugar is. Like, you start thinking about all the foods in the world, and even if they're not sweet, like you just start thinking about carbs in general and the way that Americans engage with carbohydrates, which to your body are basically the same thing as sugar. Like, it's glucose. It's like they all get converted to the same type of fuel. It's like sugar fuels or ketones, And anyways, I'm like, man, this is a problem. And so, anyways, I'm just sorry, it's long-winded because I'm really inviting you into the current reality of Jeremy's brain space a little bit. And I've just been convicted. Like, it just has hit me in a different way. And it feels like I don't even care if I'm fat my whole life. Like, I just need to get free from this addiction to sugar. And I've also been grieving, generally speaking, the reality that having ADHD makes me more prone to addictions. And so I've just been processing that a little bit lately. After I made the series about getting free from pornography addiction, like, I just ended up feeling kind of heavy and discouraged about how much of my life was in that world and how I just wish that wasn't the case. And just kind of wondering, like, man, what if I didn't have ADHD? Like, I wonder if it would be easier. Just feeling a little bit of like, woe is me. And noticing other things in my life that were unhealthy relationships, such as sugar. And I'm like, man, what if I'm still addicted to like 6 things? Like, this is overwhelming. And so anyways, I thankfully have an amazing wife that helped me process some of it. And I'll share that in a different video. We need to wrap this up right here. We need to put a bow on this thing right here. But one of the things that has been exposed to me is that my relationship with sugar has been addictive. It has been a sugar addiction. And I feel like I've gotten breakthrough. Like, if I were to tell you right now, am I addicted to sugar right now? I would say no. But a week ago, it was yes. Like, it has been, or maybe 2 weeks ago. It's been quick and painful but really has felt like divine breakthrough, because this relationship with sugar has been something that's gone on my whole life. The way I feel about my body and my gut has been something that's been with me my whole life. I was in middle school and we had uniforms and we had to tuck our shirts in, and I was the kid that like tucked it in and then like untucked it a little bit to keep it loose so that it didn't demonstrate exactly the curvature of my belly, you know? Same with gym practice or whatever, like looser shirts. Like, it's been my whole life that I've been aware that there's some things related to sugar that I don't like. Even the mood impact and the energy impact, you know, how tired do you feel, how the complexion of your skin, whatever it may be. Anyways, so I'm really thankful. I feel like information has helped, like the truth has set me free in a lot of ways, and ultimately I just feel like God has set me free, and He's helping me not just poop on myself for these negative or toxic relationships or addictive relationships, substance abuse in my life, but He's replacing them with like positive attachments. Like, here are some things that you can be addicted to safely, you know, like such as the Bible. You know, like you can't read that too much, you know. I wouldn't say I'm addicted to the Bible currently, but I'm very interested in forming that addiction. So if you have any tips, hit me up in the DMs or something like that. Does YouTube even have DMs? That's a question. But with sugar, like kind of the alternative addiction is like health. And in 2021, I was going hard on keto, focusing on body composition, but even to the detriment of my own health. Whereas now I'm like, I just want to legit, like, fitness, like true, real health and fitness, not steroids, Instagram, VOD, not some type of biohack trick, not like, hey, you can still have your same sugar addiction, just use artificial sweeteners. Like, I actually want to be free and have a body that's like, not a body, but like have my body perform at the extent, at the capacity that it's supposed to. So anyways, I'm kind of grieving the state of American nutrition, and we'll see. This could fade away. This could be another like a stint of motivation. I can't tell you how many times I've had a stint of motivation as it relates to my health and fitness. So it legit could fade, guys, which makes this a vulnerable video. But like, I don't think it will. Like, I think God set me free. So just, tune into a video 6 months from now. See how my face looks. It might be a little thinner, or it might be pudgier. If it's pudgier, then you know that I ran out of steam and I didn't find the real thing. But if I found the real thing, then let's get it together. Come find me. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. I'll talk to y'all soon. Life is worship.